song was banned in France. But anyway, hi, I'm Jason Russell from Critical Dice. Welcome to the Fable 42, where we build community through friendship, gaming, and of course, chaos. You're watching the Duke City Chronicles, a Monster of the Week game set in my hometown of Albuquerque, because it is a buck wild and weird place. You can watch us live here on our Twitch channel, Fable 42, on Friday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and if you're feeling froggy, 4 p.m. Mountain. We're going to start our giveaway, exclamation point critical in the chat to enter. We'll award those sets of dice at the end. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, we sure would love you to do that. That's all our thank you, Vanna. I think that's all of our little nitty-gritty intro stuff, but let's go ahead and introduce our players and characters. Let's start with Anne this time.
Hello. My name's Anne. You can find me at Dusty Wings Illustration on the gram. Otherwise, I do have a Twitch channel. I stream some stuff there sometimes. That's twitch.tv/mzdusty. You can find me on this channel on Tuesday nights for Crypt Creatures, which is a homebrew horror themed game. But I play Fiona. She's a demon lady, kind of a badass, red hair and all that. And she is from the Spellslinger playbook.
Excellent. Bridget.
Hi guys, I'm Bridget. You can find me on Instagram and
Demon
TikTok.
Bubbles.
I am a demon who blows bubbles a lot in this campaign, but that's fine. Anyway.
Honestly, I think all demons should blow bubbles. I think that would be better than any sort of like scary music. You just see like a couple creepy bubbles go by. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at strings_theories_. And I play Suki Buchanan. She is a heavily tattooed art professor at the University of New Mexico. And she is of the spooky playbook, which means she talks to the dead for a living. And she's very happy that none of her friends have joined the ranks of the dead that she talks to.
The day's still young.
Yeah.
GW.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them we definitely lost. Hey everyone, I'm GW.
Misplaced.
Well, there was one before that. You can find me on IG and Twitter under GW005. 2 B's, 2 zeros. You can also find me here, of course, almost every Friday on Duke City Chronicles, where I play Q, Quavon Whispers. He is the Divine Playbook, and he is the team's angsty, edgy angel.
Yes, and our fourth member you'll be meeting here soon is Stax, Judgy DM. You can find him everywhere under Judgy DM. And he plays Gates, the Monsters Playbook. He's a guy just doing his best and has an alien living inside of him. Because apparently that's a theme now on our show. And I'm Jason Russell. You can find me at Critical Dice on Instagram and heaven help us TikTok. At Critical Dice, and it would seem I'm in charge of this show. That's a lie, but I think that's it for the introductions. Nothing special. This is kind of like getting into our end game. I think it should be our last episode where we have a kind of a split cast, a little bit like this. But we're making things work because we want to keep doing this game, tell this story, and have fun with you guys in the chat. But with that, let's go ahead and get into our second episode of our current hunt, The Plan.
Yeah, I don't have one.
I wish we had one.
It's an amazing place. Most people have no idea where it is, but we're okay with that. We've got mountains, rivers, deserts, and over 300 days of sunshine, and some of the most diverse and wonderful people you'll ever meet. It's a great place to live, and I definitely encourage you to try it. But we also have our dark side, our own ghosts, secrets, and legends. Most of them are true. For thousands of years, people have been living here and dying here. This is Albuquerque, but it goes by many names. The 505, the Burke, my favorite is the Duke City. These are the Duke City Chronicles.
Previously on the Duke City Chronicles, the team survived more or less the explosion. Suki was able to unearth Chet, help Fiona and Q especially survive, as he is the last ditch effort to summon Paracletus, his goodest boy, the heavenly hound, to heal him some. EMTs and firefighters responded very quickly and were able to stabilize and heal those two members of our hunting party. The Chet was looking really rough, gets into the ambulance. Fiona starts to investigate the area and can sense that another wave is coming, a massive magical wave that last time rewrote reality. They all jump into the Mustang for extra protection because it's also their safe place. Erects a bubble last second, protects them, and when they get out of the car, the world has changed once again slightly, and Chet is not nearly as hurt, is conscious, and is talking, and told Suki that Avi, their robot friend, who he and Riley built a new body for some time ago, protected him at the last second from the explosion. And after all the first responders leave, they go looking for the body of Avi. They find a couple of homunculuses trying to excavate the same area. Fiona puts them in a bubble as Suki hears a voice from behind her as our BBEG, Joseph Maxwell, is casually standing behind her, asking her and the whole team to please stop interfering in my plans. And that's where we pick up. Q, you're still in the car. Suki, you're 4 or 5 feet from him. Fiona, maybe 8 feet, holding some homunculuses in a bubble. And he just said, introduced himself and asked you to please stop interfering with his plans.
Well, we would if we were privy to any of those plans. It just seems like we keep running across all your little inventions and things. And are you responsible for these magic waves that keep coming through?
Corrections. They're corrections. I'm Miss Buchanan. You have to understand. Though I'm not perfect, I am trying to make the world a better place. You've lived long enough. Like myself, the world's not a perfect place. You would agree it needs some fixing? And he kind of sits down on a larger piece of rubble.
Well, there are a few things that, one, everybody would like to fix about life in general, but I just don't understand why you're doing this. Like, what gives you the authority to change time?
Every effect that you fix causes another disaster or occurrence. There's nothing you can do to fix anything.
Yeah,
Even
and
if
we're
you
the
manipulate
cleanup
time.
crew.
Oh, contraire. I have all the power I need to fix things. There's always trial and error. You can't knock down one domino without knocking down another one. You have to understand, I am trying to make the world a better place. I'm not changing time, Miss Buchanan. I'm changing the source code of reality. It's much more difficult, and it can be more precise, as long as I don't have to keep making these, how would you put it, patches, hot fixes, because of you and your whole, what do you call them? Hunters. You don't have to know my plan. Stay out of the way. The world will get better. And Miss Malik, if you could please let my assistants go, I'd be much appreciative.
I'm going to have them float a little bit. They're going to kind of boing against each other. And then they're just going to fall a little farther back away from him and behind me.
Are they still in the bubble zone?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Even when I'm reasonable, ask nicely. Do you guys have some kind of complex? Do you think you're special? That only you can fix this? Clearly, You cannot. You've demonstrably made the world a worse place over and over.
Well, I would like to know who died and made you God. What makes you think that your way of thinking is the best way for everybody in the world? Seems a little conceited to me. Don't you think you're special? What gives you the right to do all this?
You know the old expression, Miss Buchanan, might makes right. Maybe it's a little out of fashion, went out with King Arthur and his round table, but I think the sentiment might be correct. I have the power to change it, and so I am. To do so would be negligent. No one died and made me God, but we've all lost people, right? I've lost someone. You've lost someone.
Who do you lose?
Manipulate someone.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Okay. That ain't bad. That is a 9.
He'll tell you, but you're going to have to convince him. He kind of like shakes his head and says, no, we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about you.
Well, I'm just trying to have a simple conversation. Like, you just keep talking in all these vague platitudes, like, I have the might makes right, which, by the way, as somebody who has lived for a long time, thank you for mentioning, I've seen a lot of men who thought that might made right and got a lot more people killed than there ever needed to be. So I think that we should, since we are the people who have the power to mess up your oh so very mighty plan, I think we should have a conversation instead of you just sort of vaguely warning us off and expecting that to like convince us in any kind of way.
You sound a lot like her.
Oh, you mean the person you lost and couldn't get back with all your power?
My
Oh.
wife.
Boing.
No, you look back, they're not in the bubbles anymore. The bubbles are empty.
No, man.
And Fiona, you can see in like various little alcoves in the perimeter of where you're standing, somewhere shy of 24 sets of homunculus eyes, looking and waiting. And he says, we can make this simple. I saved Chet. You didn't. He was gonna die. And I fixed it. What are you suggesting, Mr. Buchanan? Some negotiation, a battle of wits? What's it going to take for you to stop messing with stuff? Because I'll be honest, I'm tired of having to deal with you.
Well, I'm not really looking for a negotiation. I'm looking for context, my man. We keep trying to fix things because things keep consistently going wrong. We didn't know about your little shadow plan or any of these, major things. We just kept stumbling upon your magic blocker or your evil crockpot or your little minion who almost stabbed my very, very, very sweet friend to death.
Yes, Zach, please, if it makes you feel any better, he has been disciplined. He was the one who tried to convince me to take you out of play. Clearly that didn't work, and the world suffered. Which leads me to believe that, well, you must be important in some regard.
I think we're all important, Mr. Maxwell.
And we all have free will.
Indeed.
You do. But have you never thought, and he kind of makes a gesture in the rubble just now in the middle of it, there's like a kitchen table and some chairs. Please sit. And he pulls a chair and sits down. Have you never thought about how you do things differently? how your actions have consequences? You never wished to make one small change and undo the worst mistake of your life? That's what I'm
Wow.
trying to do.
That's not how life works.
But it can. If
But there's no growth. If I didn't witness my entire family murdered by my own demon, I wouldn't be saving as many lives as I do today. If I had the choice, I'd take it back. But all those people I saved, children I picked up with my bare hands, would be dead. And I couldn't live that way. My family wasn't my fault. It's no one's fault that these things happen. What you can do in this world is do your best. I've lived a long time too, my man.
you said you would go back and change it if you could.
But I won't.
Why can't you?
It's a chain reaction.
It is. But with the right calculations, everything's an equation. That's what I've realized. If enough variables are taken into account, if they can be processed the right way, a final solution, a final calculation can make the world the way we want it. Didn't you notice after your little escapade that Albuquerque at least was a little bit nicer, but cleaner, a competent mayor? That was a test run. I have so much bigger plans. I'd like to not have flies biting in my haunches every step of the way.
You still didn't tell us who you lost. You didn't tell us your mistake that you're trying to undo.
My wife.
Your wife. I'm sorry for your loss. I know that particular pain. What happened?
It doesn't matter. The pain's temporary. I'll get her back and give the world the chance it deserves.
What happened, Mr. Maxwell?
Q, what are you doing?
Q is still staring at the passenger seat in front of him, slinked deep back in the back seat, still holding his stomach. And as he continues to stare with his burning eyes, he normally, when he reaches down into his gifts, or when his gifts react to his emotional standing, it's more of a gentle aura of gold, or a more vibrant, radiant kind of glow. But this time it's different. That aura doesn't look too calm. As a matter of fact, it's more that he catches fire. So he's in the back seat. His body is slowly burning with this golden fire as he stares and just recounts the last event over and over and over again. What he let the shade do to him. And as his aura burns, he is going to subconsciously try to heal himself, or his powers are going to try to heal him further.
Great. Suki, when you ask that last question while he's rolling that, Maxwell will deflect and say, Miss Buchanan, it appears your Mustang's on fire. It wasn't me, I promise.
She's gonna whip around like to
Yeah, and the back seat's just full of golden flames.
Hey. Oh, actually, that's okay. I know that fire. That's actually my friend that your friend almost killed. So the feeling is mutual, me and him on fire. Well, look. Call me old fashioned, but I don't think anybody should have that kind of power.
But yet here we are.
And yet here we are. You're making decisions for people that they don't even know. You're completely changing the course of people's lives. Like, that's
Yeah.
incredibly messed up.
But yet my complaint box remains empty. That's the beauty of it. They'll never know. I don't do this for thanks. They don't even know that they should be thanking me. Now, I'm sorry that you feel this way, but quite honestly, Mr. Buchanan, none of you can do anything to stop it. If you know it's good with you, it's good for you, stay out of my way. This is not a negotiation. It's a warning. You're one and only. Leave town. Go home. Go to sleep. Get a part-time job. Whatever it is you have to do to occupy yourself with something useful. And wait for paradise.
Well, Mr. Maxwell, this is my home. And I don't sleep very easily at night knowing that there's something insane going on. It's the whole point of being a hunter and everything. So I know this ain't a negotiation, and I know you're just going to keep doing what you're going to do. But you should know that we're going to keep doing what we're going to do.
Q, what'd you get?
It did not work.
Oh,
Did you take harm?
Fiona telepathically to Suki. Yeah, you go, girl. Get it.
I think I only take harm when I'm hurt, when I'm healing someone else, and it
Right.
I roll low.
Yeah, and you take it into your stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Suki, you hear Fiona's comment, and Maxwell goes, "No whispering in class," and the connection breaks. He stands up from the chair. You really don't think I have your number? You don't think I know what you can do? Who do you think made it so that it skipped a generation, Miss Buchanan?
You're such a creep. And I just popped my second bubble.
yeah.
Who do you think is trying to fix all of this? I have unlimited power. And now I have the means to calculate the final equation. And he looks behind you, just for his eyes just glance past your shoulder real quick. And I think, Fiona, you can see that those 20 odd homunculi are slowly flying, dragging the pretty beat up body of Avi towards Maxwell's location.
Was Avi the key to all this?
Ironically, he might be. We'll find out soon.
We've just been having him watch episodes of MASH for a long time. If only we knew he'd be the key to the great work. We would have used him a little more.
I will admit, there was some hubris early on. My first test worked beautifully. But then, of course, Zach thought he could subvert my plan and convince me to make another change. To neutralize you 4. 3. But it was a poorly done calculation. And the world was worse for it. And it's only then that I realized I needed something with the right processing power. Unfortunately, Zach again, inadvertently, the fool that he is, messed that up. So I undid that correction. People remember you now, Miss Buchanan. You're welcome. But it also means that this body survived. I have what I need. I've said what I needed to say. unless there's some further braggadocious threats that are completely hollow that you'd like to deliver, I'll be on my way.
It was lovely to meet you, Mr. Maxwell. It's very, very, it's not very often that a girl gets to meet God on earth.
I'm not a god. I'm just a man with responsibilities.
I know that he can hear my connection is completely severed, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
You could reestablish it. He just hung up the phone.
Okay. Will that take that won't take a very long time. Can I do that instantaneously? I wanna tell Fiona to do something quietly, but
Go for
quickly.
it. Let's find out.
All right. I'll reestablish the connection and I'll just sort of say, Fiona, blow Avi out of the sky.
I won't snap my fingers.
Yeah, and
Just standing there, I'm gonna launch an attack, a blast attack.
Something.
roll it at a -1 because you still don't have your dagger.
Ah, fuck. Okay.
Rats
And
in the trunk.
It is. And
Sorry.
he's already walking away, and he feels the connection. We can connect and turns back and looks at you kind of exasperated, like a teacher does a child getting caught passing notes in class again.
This is literally Fiona's face. And then I rolled a 10.
Nice. Describe what it is.
It's going to be pretty invisible, actually. Just going to be a force of air coming straight from beneath him and just launch him upward as far as it can.
Launching Avi's body just up in the air.
Yeah.
Nice. It was a 10. Okay. So yeah, I think that would probably go pretty high. You see just like a rush of wind, just like from underneath and up, and homunculi just fly off in all directions. Some hit their butts, some are flying and catch themselves in the air and keep flying. There's a few that are still tenaciously holding on to Avi's body, and he just really. And
Part demon. Sorry.
Yeah.
I get off on that kind of thing.
Oh, that's why. I need you to act under pressure, Fiona, as you can feel the inner struggle of the demon.
No. Okay. Oh, fuck. What's that roll? Act under pressure.
And
plus charm? No, plus cool.
act under pressure is plus cool, I think. Yes.
I
And Avi,
manipulate someone.
and as you he does that, you look back at him, Suki, the coffee table and the kitchen table and the chairs are just gone, and Avi's body is at his feet.
His feet?
Yeah. You have no idea.
Mm-mm.
He says, come. And all of the homunculi just around him, in a swirling bubble. How'd you do, Fiona?
But we want the last word.
Yeah, I know.
I rolled an 8.
Yeah.
An 8?
Can't.
You won't be able to do anything else this scene, but you'll be able to hold him back, the demon.
Okay, so you'll see my pupils kind of totally encompass the rest of my eye and the whole ball of my eye, so it's totally black. My skin's going to feel really hot, and almost like the demon's trying to tear through my face. You'll see cracks as if my skin is really dry, and you're going to see a little bit of steam come from her face, and she's going to just be very still, not even looking like she's struggling, because it's all really just a mental battle. And she's going to be just sitting and staring at a little at his feet, I think Maxwell's feet, and just really trying to
immobilized. Yeah. And he says, it was nice meeting you. Hope I never see you again. But I'd be a fool to think so. And he just leans back from standing and just and homunculi of his body and he are all gone. Fiona.
Oh, I hate him. Okay, sorry.
I know. He's such a shit.
Your demon says, we can take him.
And then she responds, I know, but now's not the time. Not yet.
But when you tease me.
And then I think about it for a bit.
So easy.
I have a feeling soon.
Is that a promise? flesh thing.
And then she has like flashes of like the different waves of energy and everything that just happened. She's gonna have a flash of just seeing Q just fall to the ground and holding the obsidian sword and walking away. That's a promise.
Still never learned to stop making deals with devils.
And he recedes.
And then you'll see and you'll see like the black starts to come into my pupil again, and my eyes are the normal bright green. And then what a dick. He's a dick, right?
Such a dick. What was that? I gotta find a solution. You know who else had to find a solution? Hitler. Bad guy.
There's
Not
one
a good guy.
I tried really hard not to use that phrase. I'm aware. I'm sorry. Final equation was the best I could do. I'm sorry.
No, it was perfect. I was like, well, that was my whole point. I was like, I've been alive. I've seen the early 20th century. I know what's up. It's not good.
You know what? I know one. There's one like him every 100 years. They never get what they want.
It's just the thing that gets me is that like villain speech thing where he's just like, I have the plan and I will make things so much better. And it just turns out he's just making things worse, and he's taking away people's free will, as they always do. So I just gonna have to fight him. He's a madman. And stomp off towards the car.
Yes.
And with that, let's jump over to Stacks and Gates. Gates, you have just landed in the middle of the desert, the real world, or as some have called it, the desert of the real, somewhere outside of town, close to or on the outskirts of Kirkland Military Base here in Albuquerque. As you recall, a wave of energy, that same kind of magic wave, struck through you as you were transitioning from that shadowy realm back to the real world, hit you, kind of gave you a little flip as you landed in the sand, and you could see it cascading through the rest of town and small changes happening. Things like the airport getting busier, buildings looking a little bit nicer as it continues out through the rest of town. And now you find yourself kind of on your knees in the sand, facing back towards town to the north. And to the south of you, just behind you, is this berm and some kind of large wooden structure of some sort that you saw before, both in the real world and in the shadow world, kind of imposingly standing there behind you. And it also seems to have been the source, the epicenter, if you will, of this magical wave. In front of you, not 3 or 4 feet from you, you can see your phone, a little worse for wear, sitting in the bright yellow sand. What would you like to do?
First thing is pick up my phone, I'd imagine, because if that energy wave hit me and sent me somewhere else, I would want them to be able to hopefully track my phone. But since we're in the same space, I'll just pick it back up.
Okay.
And is this building of sorts, does it look like it's occupied, or?
Yeah, this is an odd thing. It's almost like, have you ever seen those lookout towers that like park rangers will use?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's almost like a wooden oil derrick or oil dike. It's probably a good 20 feet tall, you would estimate. And the kind of most obvious thing you can determine about it right off the bat is it appears to be made entirely of wood. 4 corners, kind of the crisscrossing, and then crossbars all the way up. And then almost something of metal and various construction kind of every 20, 30 feet around this kind of circular shape, this berm we keep mentioning.
almost like floodlights for like a stadium, but instead of lights at the top of the poles, it almost looks like engines or something, like a cross between like a plane engine and a space heater. But that's what you can tell from where you're at right now.
Is there like a ladder or anything to climb up? Or
Yeah, so if you're wanting to get up there, you actually could probably just kind of go up the side of the berm and kind of look and see what's behind beyond. It's not that tall. It's just kind of earth has been kind of pushed up to create a bit of a barrier. So that would be pretty easy to just go ahead and take a look at.
okay. So before I do that, I'm going to send a message to Miss Shooky.
Mhm.
Miss Shooky, I think I'm back. I will call Q in a minute to see if he can pick me up. No, not take. Hope all is well. And after that, I'll put my
Love
phone back.
Gates.
Heart emoji.
I love how you check in with mom. That's great. All right.
Like, Mom, I'm back. So I'll send those, and then I will head up, kind of like to see if I can get a better view of this area thingy.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of a wild place, to be honest. It looks as though it's almost like a crater, but more accurately, it is like a little valley that's been accentuated to kind of pushed off to the north and south. And as you kind of crest that kind of slow rise of that berm, you can see that this tower is actually a lot taller than you thought it was, maybe 10 stories tall. And in front of it is like a ramp or runway or something, easily large enough to fit a 18-wheeler or an airplane or a tank even. And that position is probably elevated a good 40 feet off of the ground. And all of this construction is made of wood. And it seems as though these let's just call them stadium lights for now, are all kind of angled in a parabola kind of shape towards this one focal center, so that whatever those do are focused to hit what would ever be on this kind of wooden tarmac, I suppose. It's just, I'm not really sure if you've ever seen anything like it in your life, either you or Stacks for that matter. It's just a kind of a very, very odd shape and place.
So my idea is that it's far enough out here that people wouldn't just happen across it.
Yeah, it would. That's a good instinct. Absolutely. Let me get a roll from you, and you could investigate a mystery. I also think if you have any weird base moves, they also might be applicable here. But investigate a mystery is probably the best place to start, unless you have a sudden inspiration.
So for weird, the only thing I can think of would be if Eubank has been here before.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do investigate a mystery first, and then see what yet remains.
Okay. Investigate 9 + 2, 9, 11.
11. All right, great. Investigate a mystery on an 11. You can hold 2. What happened here? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? What's being concealed here? And what sort of creature is it? Again, oddly contextual, but I could see it.
Probably what's being concealed here is my first. because of
Mhm.
like, why is it off in the middle of nowhere? And then I'll hold the other one, and if I can
Sure.
think of
And like most things, Stacks, uh, all the stuff we see in Duke City is based on real things. And so I've dropped you a couple of pictures of this real life location in your Discord, should you want to see them. So when I say it's a very
that place is
odd,
pretty cool.
yeah. Have you ever seen this place before in real life? Okay. It's not that far from where you work every day.
Oh gosh.
And
why is it there?
I think that begins to answer your first question, which is what is being concealed here? What's obvious is that this place is abandoned. There's no vehicles, there's no signs of life or movement really. But the more you're kind of looking around, you can feel this, I want to say vibration almost. It's, have you ever had the experience when you're in the room with a ticking clock, especially like a grandmother or grandfather clock? And at first you can hear it, but after a while your brain goes, I don't need that, and just ignores it. It's kind of the reverse effect where it's just kind of in the background of your perception. And eventually you start to notice it because it's a little bit annoying. And you've heard people describe the Taos hum before up north of town, and how it's like, the vibration of the universe, and a bunch of hippies and crystals and stuff going on up there in real life as well. But this is something very similar where it's a very, like, you can't tell if it's a sound or a vibration or an emotion, but there is something vibrating here that is honestly trying to break your focus. It's almost like there's a force here that doesn't want you to notice this very big, obvious thing that you're clearly standing on. And you think maybe had you arrived here a different way, you might not even have noticed it was here. Not invisible, just trying to tell your brain this isn't important, keep moving.
Okay. I'll kind of like kneel down and see if this this energy hum interferes with my ability to go intangible.
Yeah, I think that you kind of can test that out pretty tentatively, and there is no problem. Your hand's able to go through the wood just fine. You turn into that or biological static, you go through, and fortunately don't pop back into that shadow realm for some reason, which is kind of nice to know. And you kind of pull your hand back out, and you're like, okay, so that still works.
Okay. So kind of feel Gates kind of feels that since this whole monster hunting type of adventures has started, he's more or less been on like the coattails of Q and Misuki.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of, there's like intrigue there because like obviously something's odd about this. So I'll look at my phone to make sure that the signal's like still good.
Yeah. Signal is a little weak, but you don't have any indication that your message did not get through.
Okay.
But there has not yet been a response. And I don't think Suki has read receipts turned on either. Yeah, you still have hold one. You've got your passenger. Yeah.
Okay. I am going to start to move forward, and then the next question I probably want to ask is where's the other one? maybe what happened here?
What happened here? Okay. So as you're now, let me ask you this. I imagine you're kind of walking around exploring this place, and from what I understand, you're kind of like basically standing on the beginning of what this ramp would be to the platform that's kind of suspended over the valley. Are you kind of do you want to, like, as you're trying to figure this out, are you going forward to be on that platform and some other smaller buildings beyond? Or are you climbing the tower on to the north of the ramp? Are you going down into the valley? I want to try to get a sense of like how you're
Okay.
going about exploring this place as I try to answer this question for you.
I will try first to go across the ramp, the one that looks like it could hold like a tank or whatnot, and
Yeah.
then get over to the other platform and then see if there's like anything up with that before kind of progressing or scaling or doing any more exploration.
Yeah. So as you head out over here, you can see on the platform, there's some grooves. It's not as though the same kind of thing was rolled onto this platform over and over, but a lot of similar kinds of things. You think about like wagon wheel ruts on the Great Plains, because all the Sooners and the wagons and stuff were all kind of the same size, as they hit the same grooves over and over. But you can tell that there were several different large, heavy vehicles of some kind with wheels that have been pushed onto this ramp and to this subsequent platform over the years. And you actually can see that there's a couple of pieces of machinery, like things that like fell off or broke and things like this. And I think that you would be able to identify some of the parts, especially because one of them has a plaque on it, and it is a kind of a small plaque that kind of identifies the piece as being part of a oh gosh, Stacks, I just forgot the name of this thing. It's an airplane that does the vertical takeoff and landing, Osprey, of an Osprey. And the Osprey's been flying for years, but it probably since the 90s maybe, but they're the really cool ones with the wings that kind of like turn and the propellers go up, they turn, and then they fly forward. For those who aren't familiar, I've been on, they're really great. But this place does not look like it's been used in probably 30 years. And in fact, from this vantage point, you can see that the other side of this platform down in the valley, there's like a bunker entrance that goes into the side of the land, that there's a couple of old broken down Jeeps that look like they were just left there. And then the desert does what the desert does, which is like the paint is almost all gone. The rubber is gone brittle, and all the tires are dead. Just, it looks like what happened here was there used to be a lot of activity, and then just one day everyone left. And as you're kind of looking at that location, the bunker entrance, the big heavy door, the kind of blast door almost, like creaks open, and 3 or 4 of those little homunculi that you saw at the UNMH at the hospital during the troll hunt, your first adventure with the team, are like flying and like and pulling on it and stuff, and they kind of land and like look around the ground, sniffing around, and 4 or 5 more fly out with an older human gentleman wearing cowboy boots, slim cut jeans, button up shirt, just a really casual sport coat, salt and pepper hair, looks to be maybe about Masuki's age, tall, slim, and they haven't noticed you. And he walks out and he seems perturbed. He seems frustrated, like somebody who went out and did their grocery shopping for the week, got all the way back home, and then realized they forgot the milk. like they have to like kind of just mildly frustrated. And he makes a gesture, and all the homunculi like swirl around him really close, and they all just in a flash vanish. And you can see a little trace of energy just past you, as though they turned into a comet or something, or like a beam of energy or light, and it just shoots way past you off back towards the rail yards area, the downtown area. And the doors open, and you're by yourself here at this trestle.
Okay. I will have had my phone and anything that just like seems a little nondescript or like hard to describe in a way that's not like super easy. I would have taken like a picture, like a quick picture of it with my phone, just so I could have it whenever I go back and like, I saw this.
Yeah. So you're just basically like just touristing it up right here. You're just like snapping pictures like that's.
And then when the door would have opened, instinct would have kicked in. I would have went intangible, maybe hidden behind something. And then when they leave out, I come out, I guess take a picture of the blast door, and then I'm gonna see if I can peek in or like go into the door and see if I can see anything from.
Yeah. Why don't you act under pressure for me?
Oh goodness. Six.
A 6. Mark experience. Yeah, so you're able to kind of sneak in, and you can see that this facility, this bunker, gives you real big like government facility, segmented, kind of thing, where you walk in and it's just a big kind of round hallway, like it's the bunker from Stranger Things or Stargate, right? But smaller in scope, and it goes into a four-way, and down at the end 20 feet or so, in all three of the directions, you can see another kind of blast door that's closed. The one straight ahead is open, just a little crack, and you can hear some noise kind of coming from in there. The other two seem to be closed, and again, this place looks like it was just abandoned all of a sudden. Like there's actually a cart off to one side that looks like it has office supplies, like someone was walking around doing a resupply run of like paper and stuff. And also the ream of paper, as you look at it, it has the dot matrix like guides, where you could rip off the side at the end, kind of giving it further credence to maybe how long this has been. But you can see that the floors aren't sandy. People have been doing things here, but they haven't done much since whatever mass exodus befell this place.
Okay. I'll kind of like, I guess, creep forward in a way that won't really give my attention away. I don't know if when I'm intangible, if my footprints or my feet make sound when I'm like walking across stuff.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably a good call. Like intangibility would prevent a lot of the cues that would normally betray a person's position, because there's nothing to interact with.
So I would do that and kind of ease towards the crack in the door and like peek through and see if I can see anything.
Yeah, as you peek in that door, you can actually see something that I don't know if you've ever seen this yourself, but maybe it's been described to you. This room looks to be like a laboratory of some kind. You can see some very old 90s era computers and electronics equipment, oscilloscopes and things, but also some more recent additions where you can see that there are 4 large, almost bird cages or a Faraday cage or something in the room, all big enough to comfortably hold a full-size human adult. Um, and there appears to be some motion in at least two of them, something human size, a little bigger, something smaller, and then the other one from your vantage point appears to be empty, but there's also something moving around in here, not inside of one of those cages. As you're kind of peeking in, you can see that there's a homunculus kind of hopping, flying around, doing different things at some of the cages. At one, it appears to be kind of like throwing things into the cage, perhaps food or something. And in another one, it's got like a little, like an old broken broom, and it's like, and like poking something inside of this cage that appears to be empty.
Okay. Strange. I'm kind of gonna lean back, and then I'll go down the hall and go to my right, which would have been the left hallway when I first entered,
Mm-hmm.
and then head to that blast door and I'll just peek my head in, but not
Just
far enough.
just
Yeah.
intangibly, just to look.
Yeah.
Yeah. This appears to be what used to be a barracks or something. There's still quite a few of the bunk beds and foot lockers in this room, and there's a man sitting maybe not 20 feet from you, back to you, wearing with no shirt on, black pants and a boot, and he's muttering and talking to himself, and he is looks like he's bandaging himself up, like he's got like he's kind of wiping the side of his mouth like he got slugged, and you can see he's got like cloth in his hand, and there's fresh bright red blood, and he's trying to wipe it away, and he's like kind of talking low to himself.
Okay. I am going to come out of there.
And when you pull your head out and turn around, that one homunculus with the broken spear-like broom is maybe about 10 feet behind you, hopping like.
I'm gonna
This is
pull
from
up my phone.
this is from your act under pressure roll.
Pull out my phone, scroll to Q, dial him, put the phone in my pocket.
And there's no signal down here.
Oh
If you
no.
can
Oh
get,
gosh.
if you can get out, you know there was signal back out there.
Okay. The guy in there. I just need to check it. I'm gonna back up into the room.
So just full on, just through it.
Yep. Look at the guy and like, excuse me.
He stands up and he turns around, and I don't remember if you ever saw him without his mask on, but now that he's standing up and the build's right and the pants and shoes are right, it's the Shade. And he just like turns around and sees you, and you're all staticky, and he's all, how did you get out? What are you doing here? And
Where did you take me?
To the in-between place. No. Stay right there. Don't. And he makes a dash for the footlocker at his feet. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna jump back out of the room and start like stall all intangible, just like sprint, go back right again. So I'm entering out of where I entered into the blast door initially. And then as soon as I get up, I'm gonna try and like phone Q again while I'm running back, circling back to cross that that long stretch of a docking area.
Yeah, so you make it outside, you're running along, and you're ready to make that turn, and without a shirt on, obsidian blade in his hand, and like that H harness he's been wearing this whole time back on, Shadow steps out the shade with this sword, and you like act under pressure. Actually, he's trying to cut you off.
Oh,
Would you?
that's a 4.
Would you like to use luck?
Oh, I still got a couple of those. Yes.
All right, turn into a 12. And so you like scramble out of the way just as he like stabs right where you were going to be with the obsidian blade. It slashes down into the thing, and you hear him running behind you, and he goes, "You're not going to get away this time." And you hear the phone ring, like down in your like the lines open, and it's ringing, waiting to be picked up.
It's the phone queue.
And that is where we're going to end our episode. Thank you guys so much for watching the Duke City Chronicles. This is the final of our separated episodes. Next week, we will have the team back together, picking right up where we left off just now. And it should be a really, really good time. We're going to go ahead and call our winner. If that's you, please hit me up in the Discord. I've been sick this past week or two, so I've got a little bit of backlog of giveaways, but I will get that out to you just as soon as I'm able. But thanks so much for watching. And please join us next week, same time, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. Pacific, and for more monster hunting fun. And remember, Albuquerque's a weird place. Let's keep it that way. Bye.